I guess a little bit, well, anyway, doesn't matter, I guess. Well, like I said, I wanted to tell some of my stories and just kind of share some things on my journey. And I actually started writing some things, so I'm going to actually read it and then I'm going to talk about it. So, to start, here it is. When I left for Atlanta in October 2021, I did not know what to expect. I secured a place to stay and had a plan in case I did not immediately find full-time work. What I did not know was that it would take me almost a year to find a full-time position. Fortunately, I remained resilient and determined. As determined as I was, those 3 years exposed me to more than I anticipated. I felt as if 40 years of life lessons were all crammed into those 3 years. Before I realized it, the wall I was trying to hold up was crumbling. I had to make a decision, and thus I packed my things, filled my car, and with a bit of shame and disappointment, I returned to the city I left behind. So, so funny, I've got a list here just to kind of talk about it, but I remember driving to Atlanta and thinking, oh, this is going to be great. I'm gonna have opportunities for acting, one after another, and I was expecting this big, I don't know, how do I express it? Just thought I would be consistently acting, and it didn't necessarily work out that way. But I moved in with a young lady, and it was a good experience in that I learned a lot about myself, and more about living with other people. And I've lived with people before, but this was definitely a little bit of a different experience, but it was a very good experience. The person I lived with, we got along very well. No, really, as far as I knew, no major issues. Maybe one bump in the road, but overall, I have no complaints. But when I got there, I thought I'll apply for jobs, I'll get a job, because I mean, I'm intelligent, I've done project management, I've been an executive assistant, I have software skills, I have speaking skills, I have writing skills. There's no way I wasn't going to get a job. But unfortunately, it was, let me see, that was October 2021. I got my first full-time job in September of 2022. And unfortunately, what I did to sustain was I withdrew 401k and pension. And I had been given advice not to do it, but I did it. Whew, that was a mistake that I'm still paying for today with the IRA and the S. I told you I'm going to be transparent. I'm going to tell it. So I'm chuckling and laughing like, ooh, wisdom is so priceless. But moving on, but my first job I did get in September of 2022 as a customer care representative, a customer support person. And that's what I did. But even as I went along, by that point, my finances, they weren't horrible, but they were challenging. And I had to catch up from where I was behind. But I was determined to be resilient, to still keep going. But what did I do? I DoorDashed, I did Amazon Flex, I worked in a warehouse overnight for Walmart, I worked in a warehouse during the day. I did whatever money job I could get that was legal, that I could do to support myself. I was determined to do this on my own. I was determined to prove that I made a good life decision. I was determined to prove to people who thought I was crazy that I knew what I was doing and this was going to work out. I was determined that me, was going to do this. Well, ended up leaving that job because of some concerns, but I won't go into detail about that, not yet anyway. I left there, went to work for a guy who had his own business and worked for him, and he wouldn't pay me on time. I'm thinking, Am I the only person not getting paid? I don't know. I can't remember how many employees he has. So the first time I did leave him, I left the key on the desk and locked the door on the way out because it was one of those you could lock. He asked me to come back. He sent me my money. I did. He did it again. And I'm just thinking, his excuse was, well, it was a holiday weekend. No. Slush Jonah Gay cannot work for free. So I left, and I'll be honest, and this is why I thought I could get another job. He asked me several times to come back, even like months later, and I was like, no, not at all. I don't work for people who can't pay me. If you did it to me twice, you know, it's that first time shame on you, second time shame on me. There will be no third time. Left there and got a job with another company. Had the best manager, one of my favorite managers, great staff, and enjoyed it, truly did. And I was there until I finally decided to leave Atlanta. The biggest thing that I got based on what I'm telling you about the jobs is I was trying to work everything out. As a woman of God, a true believer and one who is trying to exercise her faith, I just relied on me. I stopped trusting God, yelled at him quite a few times, basically was asking him, why haven't you waved your magic wand and made it all right and fixed this? But I believe that God was trying to teach me how to rely on him. And I look back and I think over all of my life, I've always been that person. I'm gonna find this next job, I'm gonna make it work out, I'm going to do this, and truthfully, 1 and 1 isn't always 2, and sometimes it's not 11 either. And I realized that I had to put my faith in him. If I was declaring and decreeing that he was my source, that he had cattle on 1,000 hills, that even the crumbs from God are more than enough, I wasn't living what I was saying. I was going to make it happen in my own strength. And I believe that God allowed everything to fall apart so I could see him in a different way. I'm a little kind of emotional about it because I saw my faith grow. Even being here, and I mentioned in my last one that I'm not working, and then the places I did get a call from a company, and I thought to myself, Lord, this is the best that I can do. That wasn't the point. I had to go back and ask for forgiveness because a couple of people had reached out to me, but the pay wasn't what I had in Atlanta. But I got up one morning and I said, okay, I am reverting back and I got to get it together. And I said, Lord, whoever calls me next for a job, I will respond and I will follow through. Well, that same company I told them, nope, not going, called me that same day. And I responded. I went to the interview. And I'll tell you that the pay is about $13 less than what I was making at the job. And the sad part about it, let's even go back. I'll go back even farther because I want to work this out of my own strength. Before I left, I was told, Celeste, don't leave the company. Just, we'll work it out. But I left. And then when I got there, I had a feeling I was going to get something. Someone else tried to help me get a job. But I didn't take it because I was going to be doing all this acting. And then, and I'm just cracking up laughing as I think about this because we think so many times our plan is perfect and it's right. But God is sitting on the throne laughing. So fast forward, when I got ready to come back to Atlanta, my manager did offer me the opportunity to work remote and keep my position, but I said no. And there was a good reason why I said no. I have moments of regret, but my concern was I knew what the training was like, and I wanted to make sure she was in a good position. And I thought of her before I thought of myself. But I miss them. I really was a great place to work. I love the leadership, the people I worked with. Anyway, but you know, and then through it all, you know, the great thing is that the lessons that I learned in Atlanta have helped me through this period of my life. I know God is going to work it out. And so let's get back to the list. So, anyway, so my wall, I set my laptop down. And I'm back. You know, I just felt like by the time I left, everything was crumbling. At this point, my debts were out of control. You know, I had paid off some things, but because of, like I told you, my retirement and my pension, and then I had to get health, and I'm just gonna tell you. And then so I owed that for that. And then I filed my taxes again, and I had gone through health.gov. I did the math wrong, so I got penalized for that. Ended up owing again, and I was just like, Lord. And I just had to take a step back, and I thought, everything that can go wrong is going wrong. Oh, I'm sorry, let me tell you about Atlanta. One more thing. And if you have any questions, one of these days I'm gonna do a live and answer questions. So let me know if you're interested in that. But I'm getting ready to wrap this up. But it was interesting because I felt like, you know, everything was smashed in that year. I think I maybe had one flat tire, you know, pre-Atlanta. And I'm in my 50s. And I'm laughing because I had a flat tire when I got to Atlanta, within a couple of weeks when I got to Atlanta. Then I got a flat tire a couple of weeks before I left Atlanta. And then, let's see, I did move out one time, moved into an apartment. The guy upstairs, he was literally mentally unstable. I mean, really. And I'm sorry, I'm sweating. And then, let's see, what else happened? Somebody was shooting, and I lived in a good neighborhood. My front and back windshield was shot out. It went straight through my car. I had to replace my front window, not including when the bullet went through, 2 or 3 times. I got hit 3 times. The first time, the truck ran the light, and I was trying to turn and miss him, ended up swiping him, he kept going. Then a guy was getting over from the middle lane, trying to get over into the right lane, hit me on the side in the back, and then one guy hit me in the back. Oh my gosh, I probably shouldn't be doing this. Oh, my insurance company's not listening, but I mean, minor bumps. I mean, my car doesn't have any damage, but well, I've got a scratch and a small dent. But I was like, Lord. Anyway, and the second time I moved out, it was right before I decided to leave. I moved into an apartment, and I thought, oh, this is gonna be really nice. Everything moved in, and there was a roach infestation. It was horrible, and I literally would sleep in my bedroom with a thing down by the door to try hopefully keep them out, and it was horrible. I couldn't get the furniture I wanted. I couldn't do anything. So I said, God, I'm done. It's been one thing after another, after another, after another, after another, but it was good for me. And it's so interesting. I have a scripture that came to mind, and it talks about, I can't remember who said it, I want to say David, but I'm not 100% sure, and said, it was good that I was afflicted, or maybe it was Paul. Correct me, please do. But it was good that I was afflicted. And I'm so grateful for the challenges I went through in Atlanta. But y'all, Atlanta is a different beast. I felt like I was living somewhere, and I just didn't, let me just leave that there. It was different. But what I realized was something I always tell anybody else who wants to venture out: you can always go home, or it's okay to go home, or to go back somewhere and get a fresh start and start again. And so that's what I'm doing. This is my fresh start, and I know that it is God ordained. And I think I may have mentioned this in a previous video, because regardless, I have peace. I sleep well at night. The person I live with, the household is peaceful. I mean, it's just good, regardless, you know, me needing to find another job, et cetera, yada, 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 you know. But that's, you know, I just wanted to share about Atlanta. I was there maybe 2.5 years, not quite 3. It would have been 3 in October. But God will allow situations to get what he needs, or to give you what maybe you prayed for. And I remember prayers, because my desire is to be close to God, to please Him, to be more like Jesus. And one of those things is, I know, is God wants us to rely on Him. And I was busy trying to do everything myself. I thought if I got a job, do this, A, B, C, D. You know, I just figured, okay, draw this line here. Okay, that worked. Draw that line there. Okay, that worked. I did this. But the truth of the matter is, if I'm going to have that relationship with God, I have to rely on Him as my Father. But that is Atlanta, car wrecks, bullet holes, bad apartments. Yeah. But I did do my acting. I am still acting. I think I may have said that already too. I did, and I'm not giving up because it is a love of mine. Okay. All right, y'all. So that's my Atlanta. If you have any questions, if you're interested in me going live and answering any questions, please let me know. I am more than willing to share and answer any questions. And with that, I'll be back with another video. I've got more stuff that I've written down, and stuff I've said I will share that I never shared before that I am going to start talking about. So I'll be bouncing around. This does not have a timeline. I'm not going straight through from birth to whatever. So hang in there with me. And if you know anybody who just needs to be encouraged and know they're not out here by themselves, I don't care what your state is, please share. They don't have to, I'm not looking, if you want to subscribe, but my thing is, I want people to be encouraged. You're not out here by yourself, and we need each other. All right, y'all. I am Celestejona. Speak your truth. Live with transparency. You will see the triumph. See y'all next time.